Tim, how are you doing today?
I look tired.
Alright, give me, how long do we have until we start the show?
1, 2. I hope our mics are good.
I know, they don't, we don't matter.
Are we starting now?
Our mic's good?
I don't know what they're at.
Just make sure you give us a countdown.
Alright.
Yeah, make sure they know
fire.
which cameras.
Oh, we are live.
Thank you for joining us on Studio G. Today we get insight on charter schools, a bingo event, and investigator protection.
And we will also sit down with construction project manager Scott McClure. Studio G starts now. Did I pronounce that right? Thank you. Okay. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Studio G. I'm Diva Carter.
And I'm Sebastian Ross. There are more questions than answers at this point regarding the scope of the FBI investigation into Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. At the Senate's request, the agency is looking into sexual assault allegations stalling Kavanaugh's confirmation. The White House says the FBI will not be limited in its investigation. CNN Abby Phillips reports.
That's slow for you? Or is that fast for you?
It's come to a close. Mr. President, we'll be voting this week.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell saying he will move forward with a vote on Judge Kavanaugh's confirmation, despite the White House allowing the FBI to expand its investigation into the nominee. His pledge coming amid backlash over the restricted probe.
We certainly want the FBI to do a real investigation. It does no good to have an investigation that just gives us more cover.
President Trump declaring that he supports a comprehensive probe with a couple of caveats.
My White House will do whatever the senators want. I'm open to whatever they want. The one thing I want is speed. The FBI should interview anybody that they want within reason.
CNN has learned that the FBI has spoken with 3 people who knew Kavanaugh in high school and Deborah Ramirez, who accused him of exposing himself to her in college, a claim he denies. But the extent that the FBI will delve further into Kavanaugh's past remains unclear. A source says Ramirez supplied an extensive list of witnesses to the FBI, and Democrats on the Judiciary Committee submitted a list of more than 20 individuals they believe should be interviewed, including Kavanaugh's third accuser, Julie Swetnick. Swetnick says she witnessed Kavanaugh engage in inappropriate behavior while they were in high school, which Kavanaugh also denies.
The Swetnick thing is a joke. That is a farce.
Republicans raising questions about Swetnick's credibility. But a spokeswoman for a key GOP swing vote, Susan Collins, tells the Portland Press-Herald that Collins is advocating for the FBI to look into Swetnick's claims.
He was very aggressive, very sloppy drunk, very mean drunk.
Meanwhile, Kavanaugh's college friends offering conflicting accounts of the nominee's past drinking habits. The White House releasing statements from 2 of Kavanaugh's friends who say they never saw Kavanaugh black out, an account contradicted by Chad Ludington, a former classmate.
I can unequivocally say that in denying the possibility that he ever blacked out from drinking, and in downplaying the degree and frequency of his drinking, Brett has not told the truth.
Ludington says he was present during an altercation involving Kavanaugh at a bar in 1985. According to the police report, an argument started between Kavanaugh and another man who said the nominee threw ice on him before Kavanaugh's friend hit him in the ear with a glass. President Trump appearing to veer off script Monday when discussing the Supreme Court nominee's relationship with alcohol.
He's had a little bit of difficulty. I mean, he talked about things that happened when he drank. I watched him. I was surprised at how vocal he was about the fact that he likes beer.
At a rally in Tennessee, Trump blasted Democrats for attempting to, quote, destroy Kavanaugh.
So it's no secret that Nevada has a lower ranking than most states when it comes to education. One way that Clark County School District is rectifying this issue is by producing more charter schools in the Valley. Studio G's Nestor Sanchez sat with one charter school principal to talk about the pros and cons of these institutions.
With Nevada being ranked 50th in education, there's been many attempts here in the Valley to improve it. One possible solution is the opening of multiple charter schools. One example, Futuro Academy is now a new school dedicated to early college prep, not only with Ignacio Prado as its founder, but as its principal.
The main inspiration for Futuro Academy was all the work that I did teaching elementary school and discovering that our parents wanted the best for their kids and always wanted more.
Unlike traditional schools that require students to go to a different school when they reach the 6th grade, Futuro Academy has their students attend the same school until the 8th grade.
So I always explain to our families that our goal is to tackle two big gatekeepers that are typically very problematic for our community. The first big gatekeeper and the first sort of need is kids picking up early literacy. Being able to read by 2nd grade is a huge predictor in correlation with college success. And the reason we end in 8th grade is the second main gatekeeper for students going on to college and career success is algebra readiness, which typically is taken in 9th or 10th grade. And most of the groundwork for that is laid in middle school and the upper elementary grades. So we feel that a 8th grader who's promoting out of our school and graduating out and has both of those skills, both the early literacy and the algebra readiness, is then empowered to make a lot of decisions for themselves.
For more information on Futuro Academy, you can visit their website at futuroacademylv.org or visit their main office at 920 North Lamb Boulevard, Las Vegas, Nevada. For Studio G, this has been Nestor Sanchez.
Futuro Academy is one of the many tuition-free institutions open to the public here in Las Vegas. I guess that could have been.
I'm doing Rock Through the Decades. We play the 50s all the way to today's rock music or rock bands. I want them to get the appreciation of how much rock has changed over the years and how it's still really great. You can never kill rock. I mean, rock is like the way to be, the way to go. The name of my show is Rock Through the Decades, and I am Rockin' Gemini. You can listen to this on the Rebel HD2 network.
I didn't know what I was getting into. I thought it was just going to be fun, just me in a room playing music. And it's blossomed into something beyond what I imagined. Like, people just love it. There's like, a lot of people are eager and excited to be a part of UNLV radio. A lot of people didn't even know UNLV had a radio station, so I'm glad to be bringing that awareness to the Vegas community.
It feels great. You know, it's a great accomplishment because it starts as something that nobody knows about, and you get to build it from the ground up. So it builds your work ethic. It also gives you a sense of accomplishment when it's like, man, we made it. We did something. We made something that nobody else has made. So
it's great to be part of the student community and having to bring something to the student body with music, which is one of my passions.
I feel like it's giving me a voice, and not just for me, but for people who have something they are passionate about. And I just want to, keep that conversation going and let other people see what we're talking about here.
It's amazing to have an opportunity to play whatever it is that you want to play. It's also a great way to connect and meet with new artists, great people, just music lovers in general.
What's up, it's your girl Scribe Cash. This is
the Prince Madison. This is the Takeover.
Played by the video games Live Orchestra.
Yeah, on Twitter at Miles Low Music and
UNLV will be joined by a drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race for one of UNLV's upcoming events. Kira Cooley has the story.
As
an event coordinator at the Rebel Events Board. He has big plans for this year's Drag Bingo and helps with promoting drag culture and preparing students for the 2018 Pride Festival and Parade.
So Drag Bingo is going to be very, very exciting. We've contracted the Vixen from RuPaul's Drag Race Season 10. And so I'm very excited to see how this will go, since this is the first time we've had a celebrity from a TV show come to, do our show.
This year's host, the Vixen from RuPaul's Drag Race, is joining UNLV for a contract of $4,000. During Drag Bingo, the Vixen will have 3 performances and a meet and greet after the event.
Drag to me is the male interpretation of female empowerment.
This year's event will host 11 different types of bingo, 3 games in round 1 and 2, and 4 games in round 3.
The games will be ranging from difficulty in terms of easy to hard, depending on the prizes being given out. It is going to be competitive for the gifts that are a little bit harder to get.
This has been Kira Cooley for Studio G.
And for your chance to meet one of the drag queens tomorrow, you can show up to the Student Union at 4 o'clock.
If you've been down Maryland Parkway recently, you've probably noticed some construction being done on University Gateway. Studio G's Arlette Youssef did some digging to find out what the building is and will the construction will end.
The construction behind me is directly across UNLV on Maryland Parkway. A lot of students frequently park directly behind it and now have had to walk around in the shopping center just across the street and get to school. The new building is set to open in early 2019. The finished product will have storefronts on the first level. On the second level, there will be office space which will be utilized by UNLV officials. Above that will be dorm-style apartments. The very top floor will have a built-in pool and a deck. This mixed-use building has enormous potential for the university as well as the community. The anticipation is growing as the project is more than halfway to the finish line. The impact of this construction has created a detour for UNLV students who park at the Gateway Garage. Some are eager for the construction to end.
I just feel that the construction that's in front of Gateway has definitely just taken up a bit more time. I have to wake up earlier just to be able to make it on time to my classes, just because I do kind of have to walk all the way around the building just to get to my class, so that's become a bit of an inconvenience.
I mean, luckily there will be new apartment buildings for students to live in, which is awesome, but there's also very limited parking already, so I don't know how that's going to work.
For Studio G, I'm Arlette Youssef.
I'm not sure if I'm more excited about the extra shopping near campus or that I'll be able to cross the street regularly again. After the break, we have Senior Project Manager Scott McClure to talk to us about the relocation of police services. We'll be right back with more Studio G.
I can grow with everyone and everybody supports me as well as I can support them.
I think it's great. I think it's a blessing to have this kind of equipment from the Green Spun family as well as the state of Nevada.
And it's really informative to see, how a radio show really works.
Now that I do it, I have friends, I have people that want to hang out, and I get to play music a lot.
It's very good too because we have all the top of the line equipment to work with and students here that can help you out, so it's a very, very good way to get involved in the radio.
I really enjoy doing my show. I love all types of rock, and that's why I'm doing Rock Through the Decades. We play the 50s all the way to today's rock music or rock bands. I want them to get the appreciation of how much rock has changed over the years and how it's still really great. You can never kill rock. I mean, rock is like the way to be, the way to go. The name of my show is Rock Through the Decades, and I am Rockin' Gemini. You can listen to this on the Rebel HD2 network.
Today I'm here with Scott McClure, Senior Project Manager for UNLV. Welcome to the show, Scott.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. So please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I work for UNLV Planning and Construction. So we basically deliver projects through design. We work with an outside architect. We hire exterior contractors to do the work, and then we work with them to make sure the projects are completed on time and on schedule.
Awesome. So there definitely is the University Gateway coming up.
Yes.
What's your involvement with that?
So my focus is on the police services that will be relocating there they're on Harmon now. Their dispatch from main campus is also relocating over there as well. So that's where most of my knowledge comes from. I'm also familiar with the team that's building the Gateway building in the front. And then on the second floor of that building will be the UNLV Office of Community Engagement.
Nice.
And also the Graduate Education administrative offices, and also a little bit of a space for the Police Emergency Operations Center.
Perfect. So you'll have 2 emergency operations centers?
Yeah, there'll be actually a redundant location back on main campus with the idea that if there's a need for them to respond a little closer to an event, they would be able to respond from that location.
Perfect. Okay. So a lot of students have had a lot to say about the construction, one being the walkway being closed. Are you familiar with if that's going to be opening up again for them?
Yes. Once the construction is done this coming year, that walkway will open again, and there will also be a walkway through the center of the building on the first floor. So it's more of a direct shot. If you're coming down the elevators from the parking garage, you'll be able to actually walk through the building to the front.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
So a lot of students didn't know at first that that parking structure was actually not owned by UNLV and that it's actually leased. Being that this new development is going to be there, what is that going to do to the parking situation?
So the parking structure is actually owned by UNLV.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Okay.
The building in front is actually leased.
Gotcha.
So the plan would be, so in that existing parking garage, the ground floor parking, there will be some spaces reserved for the tenants on the first floor, so the retail tenants. And then currently there's a couple floors at the top of the building that aren't currently used by students because it's being used for construction contractors. So the idea would be that once those are, once the construction is done, then that opens up more spaces at the top of the garage for students. The other thing that I'm participating in is a parking master plan for all of campus. So we understand that there's a parking problem, and we will be looking at basically counts, how many parking spaces we feel like we're lacking, and determine the best place for additional parking, whether it's surface parking, parking garages, things like that.
That sounds great.
Yes.
So do we know anything more about these apartments? They'll be dorm style from what I'm understanding?
Yeah, my understanding is that they're a range of 2 to 6 bedroom units. There's not a lot of information released yet on it. I looked on the website actually yesterday to get more information about it. As far as what the rates are and things like that, I think that's yet to be released. It is being marketed, I believe, towards graduate students, young professionals, and professors. So I think in the overall range of affordability and costs and things like that, it may be at the middle to the upper end of costs.
Yeah, definitely, because students need all the help they can get.
Yes.
Tuition is very expensive. So tell me a little bit about the top deck. I hear it's going to be like a pool and a nice area for people just for leisure.
Yes, a pool area. The rendering shows palm trees up there.
Wow.
So that'll be an interesting way to plant them. But yeah, overall, the really nice thing about the building is that increasing kind of that location on Maryland Parkway as a destination, with the idea that, you know, over time Maryland Parkway really becomes a midtown UNLV type destination with lots of retail, restaurants, you know, UNLV administrative offices moving across the street also kind of creates that more as a corridor and a place where people can cross Maryland Parkway.
Very exciting. So is this related at all to the construction that was going on Cottage Grove, or is this a separate project entirely?
Separate project entirely. The nice thing about that too is that creates an additional location for housing along Maryland Parkway. There's also a renovation of Maryland Parkway itself coming in the next several months, where it's resurfacing of the road and an improvement to pedestrian crossings. And that's an important thing to us to know that, you know, as we're adding things across the street from main campus, it would be nice to make sure the pedestrian crossings are designated and safe.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, so when do you think, I mean, it was scheduled to be done by early 2019. Is it still slated for that?
The University Gateway is on track for that.
Awesome.
Yes.
Anything else you would like to tell us about it that we may not know?
It's, I think, you know, like I mentioned, the thing is very, very exciting that that density of development is happening along Maryland Parkway. Some of the other projects that are happening within UNLV are some new buildings that are built along Maryland Parkway. So, you know, as you notice and drive down Maryland Parkway now, you notice the height of that building, the height of the Greenspun building. It's really beginning to be a place where I think it's more recognizable as a, you know, a kind of a main street or like a midtown area for UNLV.
That sounds very cool. And do you think that people will start to embrace it more once the construction is over?
Yes, I really do. And I think once they see the retail that's moving in, and I definitely understand the concerns with parking, so that's something that we plan to address at the same time, so that doesn't become a problem.
Wonderful. Now, will there be any other projects coming up after this one is done?
You know, there's some infrastructure projects where we're taking the UNLV network to across the street in anticipation of future projects. I don't think anything has been announced yet, but I think it would be fair to say that something of this type is something that we're encouraging and recommending to continue happening all the way down Maryland Parkway.
That sounds very exciting. Thank you so much for joining us.
My
Back
pleasure.
to you in the studio.
Okay, they're ready to.
This is a 30 show that airs every Tuesday evening at 91.5. You're going to hear Dr. Gary Larson along with our regular contributors talking about what matters to our community. And not only what matters, but why does it matter? We look at our community as a whole, but we also pay special attention to what's happening here at UNLV because that's our home as well. So looking at our metropolis through the lens of a radio show really gives us the unique perspective to tell a story through words and through people. And I think it makes for a great program.
We are member supported. KUNV 91.5, The Source. Here's why you should become a member. Become a part of the public radio family while keeping jazz alive in Southern Nevada. Every member receives a discount card to businesses and restaurants around the valley, along with a premium of KUNV branded items, exclusive access to KUNV ticket giveaways for concerts and events, and private members-only events with prominent musicians such as Paul Taylor, Vincent Ingala, and many more. We are 91.5 The Source, and that source is you. So become a member today.
Are you prepared for when an emergency happens, such as a fire in the dorm or an active shooter? Do you know where your exits are or what emergency supplies you may need? These are a few situations UNLV Police Services are promoting through its Be Safe initiative. Kira Cooley reports.
Tragedy in the recent years, and UNLV Police Services want to make sure that student and faculty are safe, as well as having the resources that go along with that. I'm here at the UNLV's Police Services to meet with Emergency Manager Yuri Graves to see how you can be rebel safe.
Our students, staff, and faculty, and their families need to realize that things can and do happen, and we just want everybody to work together to be rebel safe.
In 2016, CSUN Student Government awarded UNLV Police Services a $250,000 grant to install 100 emergency phones. On top of that, the UNLV Police Services and the Department of Student Affairs puts $13,000 towards improving the Rebel Safety app and services that go along with that, including this summer's edition of the Eyes service, where app users can report safety concerns such as a broken window or door.
Be Rebel Safe is our new campaign. It's expanded into basically 4 pillars. The first one is staying informed, which involves the app. We want people to know how to stay informed during an emergency. Download the app, you can get critical information, you can get emergency notifications, but there's also emergency phones on campus where they can get information and report different incidents that they may want to report to the police. The second pillar is building an emergency supply kit. So even if you live on campus, you want to have some sort of emergency supplies that can help you during an emergency, you know, basic food and water. But a lot of our students, faculty, and staff live off campus, and if there's a large disaster in this area, they have to be prepared for 72 hours minimum with food and water and other needs for their family. The third is to have an emergency plan. This is mainly related to knowing who you're going to communicate with during an emergency, how you're going to communicate with them, if you need to evacuate, where you're going to evacuate to, whether it's evacuating a building that you're in, or evacuating the campus, or evacuating the Las Vegas Valley should there be a large-scale natural disaster, where you're going to go and how you're going to get there. The final piece is getting involved, and that's where we want people to basically have some skills to respond to emergencies wherever they may be, on campus, at home, in their neighborhood.
Download the free Rebel Safe app to your phone for more information on police services. Also visit unlv.edu/safety for more information on how you can be Rebel Safe. This has been Kira Cooley for Studio G.
Remember, to be Rebel Safe, you need to make a plan, have a supply kit, and get involved before any situation gets out of hand. We will see you guys after the break.
With the upcoming midterm elections and the first anniversary of 1 October, some furry friends stopped by UNLV to ease stress. Benny, Rosie, Maggie, and others stopped by the Lead Library to show students some love. Studio G spoke with some students at the event to get a sense of just how much these gestures from the school can relieve stress.
Very small dogs to like very big dogs. There's one dog that's like a little turquoise color. Her name's Rosie, yeah, but that was like the best dog out there. But yeah.
Like relieved a lot of stress, like just seeing a dog on campus, and it's something we don't usually see. So it's good to see a dog.
Stay tuned to Studio G for more information on the next one. And now let's go to Tim with weather.
How's it going, Rebels? Welcome to another weather forecast on Studio G. Timothy Klein here. If you look on my left, you can see that our average today is going to be in 81 degrees and it's partly cloudy, so you might see some rain perhaps tonight. Your high is going to be 83 today and the low is going to be 66. For our weekly forecast, you can see on today, Wednesday, we're going to have scattered showers, possible chance of a storm. However, for the rest of the weekend, you can see Thursday through Saturday, we're going to be picking up with the sun, and the temperature is actually going to be going down a bit. You can see 82 on Friday and 78 degrees on Saturday, so we're doing good on that. And right now for the Vegas map, you can see that Centennial's at 76 degrees, and here in Paradise, Las Vegas, we've got 81. So it's picking up towards the Central and Henderson down here. You can see it's 82. It's getting a little warm. But Nellis and North Las Vegas are staying at 82 and 74 as well. And today for our beautiful campus, 81 degrees is going to be your average temperature, and it's a sunny day with some clouds. Visibility is about for 10 miles, and the wind speeds are going to be 8 miles per hour. And humidity is 39%, which is a little lower than we were expecting yesterday, so look forward to that. And tonight, humidity is going to pick up at 45%, and we're looking at an average temperature of about 76 degrees. You can expect it to be partly cloudy tonight. You might see some rain, and winds are going to be 10 miles an hour, just like today. And going to the picture of the day brings us to one of the therapy dogs that was present at the library for students to relieve stress and mess around, play with the dogs. This is Bagel, my personal favorite dog. We got in there, shared some moments, and beautiful eyes. I just thought that was a lovely dog. Now back to the anchor desk.
Thank you for joining. That was a cute dog, Tim. That was a great dog. Thank you for joining Studio G today. Please be sure to tune in tomorrow for another edition as we bring you the most critical news happening on UNLV's campus. Thank you.